So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my glorious co-host with the Washington 1 Point Safety hat on today. It's Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. We are joined today, and it's going to be a great pod. I'm sure it is. Well, we're going to try and make it a great pod after the weekend's result, but
We
we're
got a
joined
superstar,
by.
yeah. We got a
We have got a
superstar on the show,
superstar.
so
Exactly. Rejoined second time on the pod by Alid. What's your handle? Is it Welsh Commander or is it
at Wales Commanders?
At Wales Commanders. There you go. I'll get it right. I'll get it right eventually. But yeah, Alid was fortunate or unfortunate enough to get over to New York and go to his first away game watching the Commanders. So I'm certain that we will get his thoughts going forward on what the game was actually like in person rather than screaming at your TV, which I'm sure we all did. But we'll start the show then, as we always do, with the news. So the latest news that we've got is there's going to be probably some O-line changes, which I'm sure Scouse is salivating at because the O-line talk,
time, man.
The O-line talk on here has been relentless. I mean, it looks as if potentially Ricky Stromberg is going to play at left guard and Tyler Larson was taking snaps today at centre. So what are your thoughts on that then, Scouse?
Well, I'm happy that Gates is out the team, but I wouldn't know. I kind of understand what they're trying to do with Stromberg, just trying to get him some reps. But for me, he's a centre. He's got to play centre for me. But I'm put Gates at left guard. That's what I'd personally do.
So would you push Gates out to left guard?
I would.
Yeah.
So if you want to play, mate, you're playing left guard because you're not good enough at centre. Simple as that. That's basically what I'd give him the ultimatum. If you want to stay as centre, that's fine, but you'd be number 2 behind Larson or whoever. Just you know what I mean? So, but that's my kind of ultimatum for him because he's just not been cutting it for me.
Fair enough. And then the next bit of news we've got is Phil Mathis has been activated into his 21-day window. Are we actually going to see Phil Mathis again? I think we all saw him game 1 last year for about 5 snaps. And then obviously he got injured. And that is the last time that we saw him in a Commander's uniform. So it'll be interesting to see the vaunted second-round pick eventually take the field again, hopefully. But yeah, it looks like he's trending towards the right way to either starting or having some sort of, well, he probably won't start, but he'll have some sort of impact from the bench on Sunday. And then the last bit of news we've got here is there has been trade rumours everywhere. Montez Sweat, Chase Young. Some people are talking about Cam Curl as well. Haven't heard anything definitive on that. But the only definitive one we have heard is Nicky Javala and John Kime have both tweeted out saying that there has been an offer made for Montez Sweat. We don't know what that offer entails or what the actual compensation or trade value is for that offer. But there is an offer on the table. So what's your thoughts, Alid? We'll bring you in here on potentially Chase and Montez going. Or are we sellers? Are we buyers? Where are you with the trade deadline?
Yeah, well, I think one of them's got to go. And I think at this point in time, I keep Chase. You know, he's sort of showing a bit more about him at the minute than. So yeah, I keep Chase. I would. Yeah, I think I wouldn't get rid of them both.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, it's the same thing. I thought that going into the season, and we've talked about it on here and on other shows as well, that they seem to, the coaching staff seem to like Sweat more than they did Chase. I just don't think they were 100% thinking the injury had settled and that he was over that injury and he was back to his normal self. But the evidence is on the field, and you know, Montez Sweat has gone missing for quite a few games this season, and Chase has seemed to have not an amazing time, but a steady progress. So at the moment, if you were going to give the bag to any of them, it would most likely be Chase Young.
Yeah.
Scouse, you got any thoughts on the trades or trade deadline?
I mean, yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's a production-based business, you know, and if you're not, and for them guys, it's all about sacks and pressures. That's what it's all about for them guys. At the end of the day, they are pass rushers and trying to get after the quarterback. That's what they're there for. So, you know, at the moment, Chase is kicking his ass in all aspects of the game at the moment. So for me, yeah, I mean, if he continues like this, I want to keep him. I want to keep Young, and for me, as long as that the offer's good, I'd actually entertain it. I'd entertain getting rid of Sweat personally because we've got good enough backups. We've got a lot of D line. We can get away with it. So I don't
I've heard various rumours, 4th rounds, 5th rounds, you name it, going ahead.
That's a waste of time then, because you might as well just wait until he goes at the end of the season and get a 3rd round compensatory pick.
Doesn't always work like that though, does it? And it's obviously
he's a first rounder, and so it always works out kind of for most first rounders.
It depends on what. I think there's a bit about
a 3rd rounder.
Yeah, it depends on what you get in return. So if you get a player they deem as good enough from the free agent market, it doesn't always work out that you're going to get a compensatory pick.
It's nothing to do with it. End of the day, you're letting him walk. So because you're letting a first round, a former first round pick leave after his end of his contract, you haven't cut him, then you get the compensatory pick.
Normally you do get a compensatory pick. We got one for obviously.
It's normally a third. It's normally a 3rd rounder for those type of guys. You know, Brandon Scherf was a 3rd rounder. I think I don't know the guy's name, but I'm sure we had another 3rd round.
We've got another one. We got Tim Settle one last year as well, didn't we?
That was a 4th rounder, wasn't he? Was he 4th
rounder?
Yeah,
it was Scherf's and Settles last year. But the problem you got is you got to wait that 2 years, and when you're waiting 2 years for it,
it's the year after, isn't it? But
yeah, it's a long time.
But the thing is, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? It's kind of like, well, if he's going to walk and you're going to get a 3rd rounder, you might as well wait for that, even though it might be next year. Whereas, you know, if you're going to make it interesting, okay, make it interesting. You know, give us a 2nd rounder or a player here with this or that. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. And to see how like a 4th rounder plus a certain guy, maybe it work like that.
Possibly.
But it's got to be something decent. But we don't know who the offer's from, do we? So we don't even know.
We've got no idea who it is or what compensation it is. So it'll be interesting to see.
I would be open to offers, put it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right, well, we're going to have to go back to it, unfortunately. Not that we want to, but we're going to have to go back to it and have a look. So we're going to go and revisit the loss to the Giants, 14-7. Obviously, you were there, Aled. Yeah, hard work this. I mean, Sam Howell's stats, 22 of 42, 249 yards and an interception. The next best thing on there was Chris Rodriguez Jr., 7 carries for 31 yards. And Terry McLaurin was the top wideout with 6 receptions for 90 yards. Obviously, Sam took 6 sacks in this one. The O-line took 7 penalties for 90 yards. And we actually only had 47 yards total in the first half. And Sam's quarterback rating at halftime was a 12.6. When you compare that to Tyrod Taylor's 120. So you were there. What was your thought?
We're at the start, and well, going into the game, I thought we'd win 24-17. I was confident. I thought, played, won against the Falcons, and I thought, this is, good omen. And I was just shocked, really. I didn't think it would be that bad. Me and Scouts obviously went to Wembley to watch the Jags against the Falcons, and the Falcons were terrible that day. And I thought I probably wouldn't see a worse team this season, but I did on Sunday, and unfortunately it was the Commanders. Sam Howell, like you said, the interceptions, his accuracy was off, but then you've got to think, is it off because he's worried about getting sacked? And Scout talks about the ghosts and stuff, you're seeing ghosts and stuff. And is that why his accuracy is off, or is it just another thing, So it wasn't all on the O-line. I don't think, it was a bit of Sam as well with the accuracy. But I didn't think EB helped the situation. Obviously didn't change anything. I don't know the OC of Giants, but it was well documented before the game. That he's, rush blitz heavy. But, I turned to my mate, I said, I bet you this is going to be a blitz. And straight away it was a blitz and Sam's down. And I'm like, well, why hand it off or just do a quick screen or something? Just try something. It was frustrating just being in the stadium, but obviously you've got all the New York Giants fans behind you. You can't, I felt I couldn't be too sort of,
vocal, vociferous.
You see, like the American Commanders fans. There was like one guy. He's like turning around, going like, to all of them and stuff. And I thought, I'll leave him to it. He knows the score, but coming from the British background, a bit more reserved. Like you're sort of just trying to blend in a little bit. But it was a frustrating game overall, and obviously, like you said. We don't go over that often. So when you do go over, you want to see a win or at least a good game.
Of course you do. Absolutely. I do feel for you like going all that way. It
But,
looked like the tailgate was decent though, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, I seen you grilling up some some stuff. So I thought, well, fair play. He's into it. He looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah.
So as long as you had a good time, that's the main thing. Obviously, the other, looking at this, I'm trying to pull the positives from it, but honestly, I can't pull any positives from this. We've spoke about it ad nauseum, I think, and I think I've calmed down a lot now. We're on to Philly now, so I've kind of tried to hope that would go, but this is really now 2 awful games that we've had, Scouse. Lou, we are the get right team, as you said. We are the get right team. If you are having trouble finding your defensive ends want to come and have a sack, come over to Washington and we'll gladly let you double your total. Not a problem at all. I mean, the Giants went into that game with 5 sacks, came out with 10. 11 actually.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know what to do. I honestly I've watched Ron's press conferences post game. I've watched it this week. I watched EB today. I'm not getting anything from this coaching staff that says they're going to do anything different whatsoever. For me, it's almost as if Ron Rivera's checked out. He knows he's done, and he knows that this is not going to be his team moving forward, which is unfortunate. And we've spoke about it before because we know that the players probably won't be like that. But what I don't want to hear is I don't want to hear star players like Jonathan Allen coming out and effing and blinding after the game saying, oh, we got to do better. And I'm sick of this. It's been 7 years of this. Dude, we've heard it for 4 years. You have to do better because you were missing on Sunday last week. You were not there. So it's on nobody else. If you're going to be this rah-rah leader on the field, show us what you're made of, because it's the players in the off-season, it's the coaching staff, it's the organization who's asked the fans to back them. I mean, hell, Alex, you went all the way to the States to watch them. You know what I mean? And we give them a good backing. We really do. Even though we're 5,000 miles away, we back them in any way we can support them, whether it be jerseys, whether it's going to games, whatever it is we can do. We spend a lot of time on this team as well, and we're not getting anything back from it. This is rinse and repeat that we've had with Ron Rivera for 4 years, for his 4-year tenure, unfortunately.
I asked a couple of weeks ago on the Burgundy Zone podcast, with Kyle.
Yeah, with Kyle, yeah.
Ron Rivera lost the locker room? And it was a couple of weeks ago. And at the time they thought, oh, maybe not. But I think seeing Jonathan Allen's comments as well, I think, and I know that what he was saying might not have just blamed all the coaching staff. I think he was just frustrated with everything. But I think it did allude to that, people have checked out. Not everyone is on the same road at the minute, So that was frustrating to see. Especially.
Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, just when you see a player like that, in the media. Obviously, your team, you want to keep things in house. If things are going wrong, you don't want to tell the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I wasn't actually. I like to see a little bit of fire, a little bit of pissed offness. You know what I mean? We'll call it that. Jonathan Allen's a winner. You know what I mean? Like he's been at Alabama, and he destroyed everybody for 4 or 5 years and won nearly all the championships each year he was there. This guy's a winner. He knows what it takes. And let's face it, when he comes to us, he tries to play well. He's playing injured, by the way, at the moment, but so that's why he's not as good as he was last season. But it's kind of it's just a very frustrating thing because obviously he wants to win so bad, and when he sees like he's not doing his job as 100% because he's not 100% healthy himself, he probably wound up with himself, and then he starts to get wound up with the guys next to him because they're making mistakes, and it's just a downward spiral, and eventually after 7 weeks of this up and down performance, it's just a case of like, look, man, I'm sick of this. You know what I mean? I want to fucking win some games. And frustration got to him. That's fair enough. I mean, yes, of course you want to keep it in house, but you didn't really kind of throw him massively under the bus. Didn't name names. Didn't do anything like that. He just said, "Look, we've all got to do better." And he wants, we need to win some games and sort this shit out.
I agree with that.
I don't mind. I didn't mind what he said. To be fair,
totally agree with that, Scouse. It's interesting because when you watch a player like that, and I mean, these players have been through what they have also said is the hardest off-season that they've had under EB. He's made them work. He's made them work hard, and Jack Del Rio's followed suit with the defense as well. They've worked the balls off and they're not getting anything out of it. So they're then thinking to themselves, why are we doing this? And don't get me wrong, the jury is completely out for me on EB as well. You know, I know he's a learning. It's clear and obvious now why he hasn't got head coaching positions for me. You know, he's had the interviews. It's clearly the experience factor, because if he's calling his own plays and he's calling this offense, there's a real problem there. You know, Sam Howell's not Patrick Mahomes. We all know that. So to make him take 7-step drops, you know, constantly in shotgun, constantly dropping back to try and, you know, try and regurgitate the game.
You've got to try and see, though, from EB's point of view as well, from that, especially the Giants game. You're going to talk about the Giants game. They're going to blitz all the time, right? So what do you do as a play caller? Well, as Alan mentioned earlier, you could
call the screens.
You could run the ball a bit more, you know, especially to the outside zones. Which, okay, yeah, but also shotgun is one way of actually giving the quarterback an extra half a second to see the field. So that's the reason why he's in shotgun a lot. So I can see why he wasn't shotgun. But also the rollouts, that was the key that he didn't give him. He didn't let him do the rollout until the second half of the game, when he actually started looking better, because he was getting out the pocket quickly and the guys were chasing him down, but he was able to get the ball off. That's the difference. He needs to be doing that after the first kind of 2 or 3 drives. It needs to be changing then, not second half of the game. You know what I mean? So these 15 scripted plays, no. You've got to be involved in the actual game, because our first 15 plays took us into the third quarter because we didn't have any framing, because we didn't have any drives, because we're just awful. So that's where he's got to change it up. He can't just stay scripted 100% for 15 plays. You've got to go maybe like 10, 8, and then see how it's going along. Now, it's not happy with that. Let's change it to something else. See what I mean? Maybe have 2 sets of 8, so you got 16 plays, and see which one's working better. You know what I mean? If that wasn't working, let's try plan B. You've already got that plan B right there, rather than waiting until the end of the half and then go into the third quarter, or half of the third quarter, and then you change it up. By that time, we're too far behind. We're not good enough to keep it tight.
It was 8 minutes, wasn't it, left in the third quarter before we got the magic 15 number.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Which
it doesn't make sense.
Head.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense when you struggle in offense that badly. You've got to change it quicker. You just have to, because it's not working what you set up. So you got to have that plan B. You got to have a plan C as well. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the only thing that's pissing me off about EB, is that, no, I'm doing the 15 plays. I'm gonna play it from here after that. No. It's got to be quicker. If you know you're getting smoked, and we were getting smoked 14-0 after the first quarter, you know, it's like, wait a minute, you know, you're gonna change it now. You can't just, we're getting no offense, we're getting no decent drives. There's nothing going on offense for us. He had to make the changes then, but he didn't, and that's where I'm annoyed with him with.
For me, I think is a lot of it psychological with the players, because it feels like as if they can't, you know, it's not in their remit to go ahead. We've got to wait to go behind, or then we start. You know, it feels like it's just a pattern week in, week out. You know, when it does happen like that.
You're absolutely spot on.
The game is 60 minutes. It's not 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why are we only turning up in the second half of games? It's not good enough, man. We're already too far behind. We got away with it a couple of times because we played against bad teams. That was the reason why we got away with it when we were so far down against Denver, and we came back to win, and, you know, the Arizona game, etc., etc. But against good teams, you're not going to get that chance. They're just going to keep their foot on your throat, and you're going nowhere. And that's exactly what's happening. And we were taking on even probably the 2 worst teams in the NFL, and they still played a lot better than we did. Yeah. And that is worrying.
Yeah, that is worrying. I mean, you're right, though. We can't, and we never have been able to, under Ron as well, put together a performance where it's one whole game of football, and you know what, you're relaxed in the third quarter, and you're like, do you know what? We're all right here. It's never been a sequential. Every single person has every single bit, whether it's special teams, offense, defense, have done their jobs properly, and you all the way through, and you're thinking, do you know, we've really got this. I mean, I can probably think the only one was a really terrible Houston Texans side last year. And we were like, do you know what? Yeah, we took our foot off the gas in the third quarter and said, right, that's cool. And I actually watched Red Zone, which was like, you know, this is pretty all right. I'll have that on there and I'll have this on there. But I've never felt like that in probably, once in the entire tenure under Ron. And that is a worrying stat, because we could have easily lost that Cardinals game, Scouse. I mean, we were there. You know what
lost the Denver game?
And we could have lost the Denver game. And then you're looking
could have beat the Eagles. We could have beat the Eagles. And that was our best performance besides the third quarter. It was our overall best performance, I thought, was the Eagles game. And we lost.
And we went toe-to-toe.
What's that saying about what our team is? You know.
And they had an off day. They had a really off day as well, the Eagles, and we still went toe-to-toe with them. And I thought to myself, well, that's all right.
Besides A.J. Brown killing our...
I know.
Obviously, our corner, but besides that.
But, yeah, I just don't know where these performances are coming from, whether it is a shared blame of the players or if it's fully coaching. I'm pretty convinced that it is coaching now. And we know that it's towards the end of this tenure and they're not getting what they want, whether it's positional coaches or whether it's the overall OCs, or DC or the coordinators, shall we say, and in fact, the man who folds his arms and stands on the sideline. It's frustrating. I mean, Ron was the right man at the right time. We've all said that, to bring this into culture change. But I think it's time to move on now for me. I am absolutely convinced that he is not going to be here next season.
Yeah. You know what you're getting from Ron? He's only had 3 winning seasons in his whole NFL career as a head coach. And that's scary as well.
I mean, without a Cam Newton, would Ron Rivera even be in a position to be a head coach? Honestly. And have this merry-go-round.
Well, he wouldn't have lasted for this one.
Yes, I'm saying I don't think he'd be as revered.
He had a prime Cam Newton. He had a prime Luke Kuechly as well. I mean, that guy's an unbelievable linebacker.
Yeah,
which
makes me worry. Which makes me wonder. Then this is one of my biggest frustrations is they've just totally mismanaged certain positions on this football team. Offensive line.
That's my biggest gripe more than anything is that they've neglected 2 major areas: the offensive line and the linebackers. Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, that's enough of dwelling on that game. We'll move on because I think we all need to move on. It's not Therapy Thursday. We'll move on from there.
It is Therapy Thursday.
I mean, to get to this to take some decent things out of that game, I suppose. You got Jerome Payne had a fumble and a sack. Sweat had a sack and 2 tackles for loss. Hudson had a sack and a tackle for loss. Chase Young had 2 sacks and 3 tackles for loss. And Pringle had a decent kick return with 38 yards, So, and he also had a reception for 16 yards. So, in the grand scheme of things, the individuals played well. And I didn't think it was the defense that was the problem in this game at all.
No, everything else, we don't start fast, even on defense. Yeah. We didn't. We were 14-0 down early. And then they made the adjustments and they got better and then they started dominating. And he dominate the second half. I mean, the Giants, besides one drive, never got on our red zone. And then that was what they fumbled it anyway. So it was kind of the other thing, I suppose. The quality is there, but the consistency and to do it for full game isn't there.
Exactly that. I mean, the other thing you could say there is they could have nilled us, really. Because we scored.
You could have nailed us, yeah.
We scored off a muffed punt and then had to convert a 4th down just to make sure B-Rob was able to get that 10 yards to run it in. Yeah, I mean,
it's not good. It's not good.
If you'd have gone all that way,
offense, he was stuck, man. He was stuck big time.
If you'd have gone all that way for a 0 burger, Aled, I would have.
I know. I was glad to see at least one touchdown,
Oh my word! But, whereabouts were you in the stadium? Then were you quite high up in the bowl or upper tiers?
Similar to where we were the first game last season, but behind the
goal. Right. One of the goals, yeah, nice.
Yeah, behind one of the goals. Really good seats. And my friend, he's got 4 season tickets. He doesn't go all the time. He lives in Boston, which is 4 hours away. So he makes money by selling, them on when he can't go, but they really, I can imagine, I think, I haven't looked into it, but I think there are a lot more where in that stadium compared to FedEx,
Well, you got to buy the seat as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You got to buy the seat, haven't you, for MetLife?
Yeah, because he was telling me that, if people pass away, they can sort of keep in the WRU in Cardiff, the debentures they called, and they own the seat and then they can buy that season ticket if they want to, or they give it back to them. Yeah, so it goes from generation to generation.
Yeah, there's nice. Kind of a name for it, isn't there? Where you got to pay it's a lot of money, 5-10 grand.
Yeah,
just to keep the seat for the year.
Yeah,
and then you got to pay your season tickets on top of that.
Of course, yeah.
Oh my word,
it's mad. It's absolutely brutal, man.
And just to go quickly say about the game as well, the block field goal, come
Oh,
on.
yeah.
You know, come
yeah.
on.
Joey Sly, what are you expecting, no?
You know, exactly.
I mean, it was they got he's got his hand up. Fair enough. There, I think it was Lawrence when he got his hand
Bend
up.
it around him.
You know, it
Put some
wasn't
curl
far.
on.
This is the pros, like, you know, you've got to
I
be
know.
making those time and time again.
They have not blocked a field goal for I think it was like 7 or 8 years or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, honestly.
It's hard. It's quite hard to block a field goal, to block a punt. It's not
100%.
easy. So when you see it, it's sort of like, you know, how?
Well, what happened was Cheeseman didn't start blocking. That's the problem, because he was right in the middle of the goal, wasn't he? Lawrence right in the and put his hand up to stop it. So, so I'm blaming Cheese on that one.
Cheeseman definitely had one muffled sort of snap. It was a low sort of catch for the punt.
Tress, wasn't it? Yeah,
Tress for the punt. Yeah, I was directly behind that. I saw that. I was like, oh, yeah. It's really interesting because it's so close to see the sort of how they do it, you know, with the actual sort of movement of the spin of the ball and stuff. It was because you can't really see that a lot of the time on TV, you know. So just to be close to the field and to see how all the sort of how it all works is really interesting, I found. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was Tressway's highest ever punt total again for the
At least you saw a record, mate. At least you saw a record while you were there.
Yeah, it's a franchise. Yeah. It was a franchise record, wasn't it?
I don't know how
NFL record.
If he NFL. He's been injured, isn't he? Tress has been isn't he injured?
Yeah, he's back a bit. Yeah.
You know that. Yeah, some of his kicks, wasn't going as far as he has done it in the past. Yeah.
He's a nightmare to return against, though. Because he's a left footer as well, and it spins differently, and the players always struggling to trying to catch it. You know, so that's why we get more punt.
When we went week one, we were watching the punts, weren't we, from Tress, and it was, I mean, honestly, crazy. I got no idea
exactly where he wanted. Like, there was one guy right at the end zone.
One lad,
he kicked it like 70 yards right to him. Like it was no. He didn't have to move. Caught it in his hands.
Yeah, it was almost like in rugby. You know, like in rugby, Ali, where you're throwing the ball to each other. You're having a bit of a there we go, or a line out drill. Yeah. It was almost like it was coming down like a line out drill. Yeah. And the lad was just like, and he was a young lad as well. He wasn't even someone big as that. Probably about 16, and he's just like, I'll catch that. Oh my God! But
like 60-70 yards as well, like that eye in the air, perfectly right to him.
Like a brick just falling out the sky. You're like, nah. so I mean, I'll never like Dax Milne, but I've got a little bit more respect for him now to say at least you catch it. But there you go. Yeah, but crazy. Scouse, have you got a Scouse's sizzle this week, mate?
Scouse's sizzle, baby.
Good old Mike.
Thank you. I'm Mike Tyson.
I'm Mike. Well, I mean, where do you start with this? For me, I'm blaming the coaches for all this. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm literally sick. I'm sick of how I'm like John Allen. I'm like the white John Allen right here. That's what I am. Sick and tired of it all, man. I'm sick and tired of the ups and downs. I'm sick and tired that we can't actually stay consistent for more than like three plays at a time. It's not good enough, man. These guys are on ridiculous money. And even the coaches, I mean, Ron's on about $8 million a year, you know. Do you know that? I mean, he's doing nothing. What is he actually doing? I mean, a few games ago, he let the players talk it out when we were getting smoked at halftime. No. You got to sort your life out there, man. You got to sort it out. And then you've got fucking Jack Del Rio again, still doing the same old shit. He's doing my head in. I mean, honest to God. I'm fucking sick of it, mate. Honest to God, I'm losing my will to live.
Are you checked out as well? Have you checked out?
I'm checked out of Del Rio, 100%. I'm checked out of Del Rio. I'm checked out. I mean, I say I've loved Ron. I've always tried to back him up, but I'm done with him as well. I mean, them two need to go, and even EB, I'm borderline saying he needs to go as well because he's not producing shit. And you can tell that he's a novice at play calling for like every single snap, every single play. You know. Again, I'm hoping that he gets better because if he doesn't, he's out the way. He's out the door along the rest of them. Yep. And for me, it has to be on the coaches, though. I mean, yes, you know, players always blame the coach, don't they? You know, in any sport, you get beat. Oh, it's shit tactics, blah blah blah. But the thing is, motivation. Who's that come down to? If you're professional, it should come from within. Doesn't always, though, right? So then what have you got? Then you've got the coaches who've got to do that. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing these guys actually genuinely being motivated to win games. The only time I've seen them motivated, realistically, is second half of games where they made adjustments. Now, again, I don't understand that. I don't understand why you don't produce anything in the first half of games, and then all of a sudden you're like a completely different team in the second. That's a motivation thing as well. That's motivation as well. Maybe you didn't believe in the tactics at the first part of the game. I don't know, but the thing is, you've got to be on the ball from the first fucking play. You know what I mean? You can't be messing around. These guys are getting paid way too much money to fuck around, and they are fucking around, and I'm done. I'm sick of it, man. I'm genuinely sick of it.
That's Scousey's sizzle. I couldn't agree more with every word that probably came out of your mouth there, to be fair, mate. But anyway, we've got our guest on. Yeah, it is a first as well. We've got our guest Alid on. And I want to ask you then, really, because obviously we're kind of a quarter of the way through the season. 7 games gone, going into our 8th game this week. What are your thoughts so far on the season overall then? I mean, what grade would you give us overall? I mean, are we panicking too much at a 3 and 4 side? Or are we,
Yeah.
I don't know.
We want to win. But then when you look at the other teams, we've got teams like Green Bay Packers where they like 1 and 4, 1 and 5 or something. You know what I mean? So there are worse teams than us. We're not the worst team in the NFL. But
we're not far off it though, mate.
No, we're not far off. Yeah, exactly. One game can change everything. Either way, really. It is tight. But the start of the season, like any team, any person who supports a team, they've got sort of, you think you're going to win the Super Bowl, or I certainly do anyway. I think, oh yeah, this is it.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm just one of those romantics.
I voice the fire every year.
Yeah, I'm just one of those romantics who just feels positive and goes, this is going to be it. And then when you do have a season like this, it's just sort of
Canada, Mike, we've found your kindred spirit.
Yeah, so oh gosh, I don't know an actual grade. I think it could be. It's going down towards an F. Obviously, we're only 7 games in, but it's not going up. It's going down. But we haven't quite hit the F yet. But it could be spiraling towards an F very soon if we don't pick up.
I agree with you. The trajectory is downward, isn't it? That's the thing at the moment. Unfortunately,
and that's what kills you. That's what kills you. It's the hope, isn't it? The hope that kills you off. Yeah, we're going to do well this year. We got some good players. We're going to do this. We got AB coming in from the Super Bowl champs and blah blah blah. Look at the state of it.
Yeah.
Look at the state of it. I mean, it's not good enough, man.
I was excited with Wiley. I was like, oh. We got Wiley coming in. He's gonna improve us.
Awful.
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes can have no one in front of him, and he can win it all.
He makes a player out of anyone.
Exactly,
exactly, man. He makes like Miko Hardman look amazing. You know what I mean? Like, he went to Jets and didn't do anything. That's how good Miko Hardman really is. You put Mahomes in there, you can make any wide receiver look good. It's crazy. For me, it's. What would be my grade? D. I think it'd be a D. I think there's been some good, reasonable high highs and then some ridiculously lows. So I'm just sick of like how we cannot stay consistent with the same team. Mm-hmm. It isn't like we're decimated with injuries. There's one here and there, but most of our team is available, and it's not been doing the business. I don't. That's got to be on motivation and coaching. It has to be play calling and all the rest. It has. So for me, the coaches at this moment, the coaches are getting an F. The coaches
I agree with that.
Getting an F, and the players are bringing it up to a D. I mean, and they're trying, but they're not producing. They're not producing anything. It's not pissing me off.
Yeah, I think the scheme's not working on both sides of the ball, whether it's offense or defense, and we're not seemingly targeting what is our best players. I mean, you're big NFL watchers. You've been to watch the Jags and Atlanta this year at London. You watch it throughout. I'm certain we do this. We all do the same. We know who the decent players on each of the teams are. How many other teams out there give their best wide receiver less than 10 carries a game? I don't know any. Yeah, how many weeks have we watched Terry get hardly any targets whatsoever? Granted, last week he had a few, and he put his body on the line as well, man. He was very, very good. Yeah, 9. So,
and that was all in the second half. All in the second half. He had 0 yards in the first half. Terry. Zero.
Which just makes me wonder. Well, we've got some fan questions that we can all answer. So the first one, I'll give you this one, Aled, if that's all right. And this is from the Podfather himself. You write to him, he'll write to us, and he must have known you were on the show. That's what it was. But yeah, Podfather Carl Ronick from the Burgundy Zone. If you haven't gone and watched him, please watch them on YouTube and subscribe. Great guys, family. They are family to us.
I've got the t-shirt on.
Look at that. Well,
nice man.
There you go. There you go.
T-shirt, yeah.
We'll even promote them. Yeah. We'll promote them on this show.
That's big time promoting.
shout out to Kyle and the Mikes. So he said, what can the Commanders do offensively to be better than a 1 in 15 on third down?
They just need to be faster with some of the plays. Like, obviously Howard's holding on to the ball too long, and a mix of EB's play calling. They just need to mix it up and, give some plays that is easy for everyone, and then I think they will convert, that you'll see the conversions come. They need to build up slowly. They need to build up the confidence. They're lacking in confidence, mentally and physically. So it's a tough one, but, we've got the coaches now, we've got the players. We're not going to get anyone different at the minute. So we just got to protect the ball better and just get up the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, screens, yeah, as you said, simplifying the playbook, pushing the pocket out so that Sam Howell's outside the pocket, giving him a little bit more time to go. Yeah. The run game, run the ball and see where you go. This is the one thing that we'll come to Philly in a second, but this is the one opportunity you've probably got where you can actually run the ball. Against their run D.
The Giants weren't even good at run defense. If you look at the stats, the midway, it's bang av, and we couldn't do shit. Now, the biggest thing for me on the third downs is that we got to be third and short.
Yeah.
We can't be going 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 25 is that we've seen. That's the thing. Taking the sacks, taking all these different things. We can't keep doing that. We have to get 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s, and then you'll see a lot more conversion rates rather than 1 and 15. That was the problem. I think our average on third down was literally 10 yards. I think it was 10 yards on average. That's not going to win you football games at all. I'm even surprised, only because the Giants were so bad that we were still in that game with a 1 to 15 ratio there on third down. That's the money down. That's what you get paid big money to produce big on those downs.
It's not a computer game, is it? It's not a video game. It's not Madden. You're not 3rd and 25. It's not really going to happen 9 times out of 10. You've got, like Scout said, you've got to have those short downs, and to get those short downs, you've got to be better in the first, second down.
Second down, exactly it.
Absolutely right. And that starts up front as well. So if you are changing the O-line, that's where it starts.
I'm not saying they don't want to change it. I just don't like to change what they're actually doing. I mean, I've said before.
I don't know why Lucas didn't even see a single snap last week.
Yeah, ridiculous. He was probably man of the match last game.
Well, he didn't have a single pressure against the Falcons. Not a single pressure given up, and that's unbelievable.
It never goes on, although it's only the Falcons.
Yeah,
they're bad. They won this week again.
Exactly. Calais Campbell's
not a bad team, man. They're not a bad team.
You know what I mean? And they've got a good secondary, but yeah, I get that.
They're not a bad team.
Tim Towner asked us a question, and he put a question in last week, so I'm going to read it from last week, but it is still applicable now. He says, what are your thoughts on Logan Thomas? I think he's a below-average blocker, poor route runner, and whatever speed he might have had has now gone. Is it a mistake to not play Cole Turner like a lot more? Scouse, I'll go to you with that one first, mate.
I totally agree. Tim's hit the nail on the head there. No, Logan Thomas of a couple of years ago, okay, yeah, because he still had that bit of speed, a little bit of burst about him. Now, as you say, last season his blocking was horrific. I mean, I'm talking real bad. And I understand he's come back from his ACL, I get that. But if you're on the field, mate, you've got to produce, and he wasn't producing. He was being absolute god-awful. This year, he's done a little better, but still, you need to be getting the youth in there now, giving him a shot. Because Turner's probably as good as Logan in the blocking game, because they're both not very good at it, let's face it. And I think Turner's got better hands and he's a lot faster. So I just think like you just need to be getting him involved 100%, man. I just It's a shame because I like Logan, but he's too old. He's injured a lot. He got concussion again last week, a couple of weeks ago.
Thing, yeah.
Now again, there's a horrible tackle. The guy just laid him out. No, that guy again did another one this week.
Yeah, Jackson's been banned, hasn't he? He's been suspended now by the NFL for I think
That's
10
three
games.
in a row. 3 games. He did the same thing to someone.
10 games they suspended him for.
Shut up, 10 games.
No, I'm serious. Yeah, 10 because he's been persistent. So they are. So Denver are actually looking at getting a linebacker on the trade deadline from somewhere. So that'll be interesting to see. They get.
Yeah,
I think.
I noticed that Logan in the game. He looks like a step or two off the pace now, like Scouts are saying. And with Cole Turner, you're not going to get better in training. To an extent you are, but you'll get better in the games. So you need to play them. You need to play these young players because that's the only way they're going to get better. And
that's it. And we're not a Super Bowl contender where you think, oh, we can't afford to drop this guy. Oh, we're winning now. No, we're bang average. We are literally a 500 team. So why not play the youngster?
Yeah, because Logan Thomas, you think he's bridging the gap. We don't need to bridge the gap. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Let's get the youngsters through and let's kick on.
Agreed. So last question we got this week then is from Deluxe, and it's quite a thought-provoking one. He says, do you think the NFL is building up interest for the return of NFL Europe? NFL is heading to is hard to expand or contrast from 32 teams for schedule purposes, and divisions, logistics make more sense for a European league. What are your thoughts? Now, I know obviously you were repping the London Monarchs jersey the other week, Aled. We spoke about that before. We all think that there will eventually be a franchise in London of some description, most likely the Jags. I'm pretty certain it's probably going to be them. There's too many connections there for it not to be. But NFL Europe, not sure. What are your thoughts? I'll go with you, Aled, first.
Well, it's money at the end of the day. Whether they can see enough money in it to create this league. If there's enough money, it'll happen. Because it's all about money at the end of the day. Quite. That's all they want. If it's money, we'll get it. If not, then we won't get it. But I think, like you say, Jags. If Jags were going to go to London, it would be the Jags because like we know in our football, Wimbledon moved. But like in there, I know in the NFL, obviously teams move like the Rams, etc. I know it's within America. But those fans in those places, they can't do much about it, can they? Because it's out of their hands.
San Diego and St. Louis aren't exactly happy, are they? Let's be honest.
So no disrespect to Jacksonville, but I can see Jacksonville in that sort of radar as well, isn't it? It's not as if it was Washington, then there'd be, heck to pay, wouldn't there? If they tried to move Washington over to London. But with the Jags, you feel like they're lambs to the slaughter. They're just going to go. So I could see it happening, or definitely more games, in London, and maybe eventually.
We spoke about this last week, Scouse, and you were saying there, and fair play to you, that we listed off. What was it? 8 different teams in Florida alone, and you're saying that your Jags have got a terrible, including college. Obviously, Jags have got a terrible fan base in the fact that they don't get a lot through the turnstiles. So that doesn't do them any.
Part of Florida as well, right at the top. So there's there because you look into like Carolinas then and stuff like that. So so all their fans are either like Carolina fans or actually are Skins fans because before, the older ones, there was no Carolina team, so they went towards our end. That made sense. So
Jacksonville is the youngest Florida side, isn't it? 1995.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a massive historical team.
Yeah, they're hard, man. They're hard. So I definitely get why that would happen. As to go along with an NFL Europe, I think is it a possibility? Yes, as Alan mentioned, if the money's right, but it's got to be. It's got to be useful, if that makes sense. It can't just be like it was previously. Like most of the teams just don't. It's not like it should be a feeder league to the NFL. But we know college is that at the moment. So it's like, so what do you actually do? The XFL, okay, whatever.
Didn't work.
The Canadian League, whatever, yeah. okay, you've got them over there, and they're kind of a feed league because some guys do filter in to the NFL here and there. But if you want it actually to be a genuine proper league that's meaningful, then they've got to do some sort of like big time link to like some of these players can move over there or come across quite easily or whatever it is to give European players a chance as well as other American guys who need to play in Europe, just like superstar quarterback, what's his name, Kurt Warner. He did the same thing.
Yeah,
he did the same thing. He wasn't getting games over there, so he came over to Europe for a bit. You see what I mean? So those things can be beneficial, but it's got to be together. It can't be just an extra. You know what I mean? It's got to be a genuine kind of link, if that makes sense.
I think it'd be better beneficially. That player, I don't know who it was on the Giants, who said, "I've come from my couch." Yeah. So he could have said, "Oh, I've come from NFL Europe." You know, you could have those players just waiting. They're playing meaningful football, and then they can step in rather than just, not saying this guy's a bum, but you've got these guys who just sort of like stepping in because they're desperate.
Yeah, exactly. So you can have like an extra tier. It's like in baseball, like the Triple A's teams. They're not the main bit. They're just underneath, but it's still linked to to that team. If that makes sense. And you play for them for a bit, and then you go, "Oh, actually, he's playing well. Let's bring him up." See what I mean? Those type of things. That's what it should be. If you're going to utilize it, if you're going to do something like that, that's what it should be.
I really like the thought of it, but I just can't see it happening.
I like the idea of it, but again, it's got to be linked properly.
Yeah, because I remember Rhine Fire, I remember Scottish Claymores. These sort of teams where it's like, you know what? Yeah, it was okay back in the day, but I genuinely think now that it won't work through supporters either, because we all have teams. You go to the NFL Europe games, you go to the London games, you see every jersey sitting in the stands. People are not going to give up their fandom to go and watch a London team or go and watch a team in Glasgow or a team in Wales, or
I think like once or twice maybe a year, but not the whole season.
That's what I mean. So I can definitely see logistically a team, and it will most likely be the Jags. I mean, Tony Khan, we've talked about it before. He owns Fulham. Shad Khan, sorry. He owns Fulham. He owns half of Wembley. It's almost there. There's 5 games next year apparently for the Jags in London alone. And then we've got 2. Yeah,
Jags at 5.
Just apparently so, yeah. And then we've got 2. If you think about the Europe side already, we've got 2 in Frankfurt coming up. In the next couple of weeks, and they're not going to go away. The ones that are either rotated, I know Mexico's not in Europe, but the way it's rotated through to another international destination. They had one in Germany last year in Bayern Munich Stadium. So it is there. The fan base is there. The Germans are mad about the NFL, still are. There's a huge Commanders support out there as well. You've spoke to Australians, we've spoke to bloody Mexicans, we spoke to French, Belgium Commanders are out there. They follow me, so shout out to them. The German Commanders are there. It's everywhere. It is massive in Europe, NFL, but I just can't see a league structure, and I think that's the problem. If things like the XFL and the American Football Alliance, whatever it's called, the other one, if they're not working as feeder leagues, how can we expect something to happen?
But they're not owned by the NFL. That's the difference.
No, I understand. It's not
owned by the Rock and some other fellas.
I know. I know that.
So because of that, they are 2 separate entities. You know what I mean? So it's not a true genuine feeder league. That's what I'm saying. So that's where the niche could fit in with the Europe. But I understand what you're saying though. Like a lot of eventually the fans will probably start off good and then it'll just die down.
Just die a death. And that's what ruined it. That's what ruined it last time, Scouts. It just died a death because people just didn't have the patience to watch 3.5 hours of football, every week. It was just it was hard work. Then
the crowds are the only one who kept it going for a long time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The Germans kept it going for a long time.
Money's a big factor as well,
Of course it is.
People haven't got disposable income for things like that all the time,
Especially nowadays with everything going in price.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Inflation and everything else. It's just
I get it. Going up with inflation.
No, well, that's what I mean. Yeah. So. And then it's making decisions in that respect, and I get it, but that's why. When you look logistically at what the Jags are doing here, Trevor Lawrence has got his own place. People in London, people who are drafted there know that they're going to come to London at least 3, and now it's going to be 5. It's only heading one way, isn't it? And honestly, I think we could survive a full-time franchise in London. I think that would work because even the Jags fans wouldn't show up. They wouldn't all be Jags, but it would be still the mishmash that it is
And
right
the thing
now.
is, they're used to it now as well. They're used to having like an
of course,
actual crowd as such, if that makes sense.
But it's still more people than they're playing in front of in Jacksonville.
Oh, by double,
That's the problem.
by double. That's the problem. That's the reason why it makes financial sense for them to come over and stay here.
And when they come over 2-0 this season and they go back 2-0 from London games, you think to yourself, actually, they've had a good time over here. So I think that's probably the way it's going to go. 5 years' time, we'll most likely see something.
A lot of Yanks do look. It's like a dream destination thing, isn't it? They want to go to. Where do you want to go? Oh, I want to go to Europe.
Yeah.
They see Europe all the time, and then they go around London and go to different parts of Europe while they're over here.
Yeah,
and it makes a lot of sense. And that's the reason why you do see a lot of Yanks at the games.
Look at John Taman. He said, if we get if we get a game next year, I'm coming to London. I'm going to go right round. I'm going to go to Scotland. I'm going to go to Ireland. I'm going to go to Paris.
Do all of it. Yeah, exactly. While you're over here,
because it's accessible. It's accessible when we're here. And these guys, like each week I look at like Chris, or Chris Bryant or whoever. Where are you flying? I'm flying to Atlanta. How long's that flight? 2 hours. In 2 hours, you're in Madrid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that's the thing from here. So it's like, well, okay, there's lots and lots to discover. So that's why I think we could end up having something like that. But
I met the rally captain in
Did you?
MetLife, and he hasn't missed
the
game since 2014. He was telling me. That's an amazing thing.
He never missed the game since 2014.
No, home and away. He's been every game home and away since 2014.
That is crazy.
Man.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So we'll move on to our final segment, and thank you for everyone who's put the questions in. Thanks to Kyle, thanks to Tim, and thanks to Deluxe. They were really good questions. Really enjoyed them, actually.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the review. Well, we'll preview the Philly games. We have got the 6-1 Philadelphia Eagles coming to FedEx Field to take on our 3-4 Commanders, and we've got an injury report here. So I'll start with Phillies, which is short. We have cornerback Bradley Roby with a shoulder who did not practice. D tackle Milton Williams with a heel. He was limited practice. And then we have safety Reed Blankenship, who was full practice, and he had a rib problem. From our end, linebacker Cody Barton, ankle, didn't practice. Guard Sadiq Charles, calf, didn't practice. Well, this one's a funny one and a bit of a worry.
Be out,
They are both going to be out. Yep, we know they're out. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel, foot, did not practice. Interesting when he's been on
a better receiver. He's been on number 2 receiver, hasn't he? Let's face it.
He has. Guard Sam Cosme, hip limited. Cole Turner, tight ankle limited. Montez Sweat was a finger injury, which he got it popped back in. That was full. And then D tackle Phil Mathis was still on the injury report for his calf, but he was also full. So it looks like them two are absolutely fine, Sweat and Mathis. Probably good to go with Cosme and Turner. Samuel is the biggest question mark out of them ones, and we know that both Barton and Charles are not going to play.
I told you, I didn't tell you about Charles. I told you about Charles.
Yeah, you did.
You can't guarantee him because of his injuries, even though he's a better player than some. And he's really good in the screen game, which I'm really impressed about, actually. But can't stay healthy, bro. And it's that calf again, the same calf.
Yeah, so, all season it's been bothering him.
He's probably going to be out. He's probably be out another month, probably realistically, unless he's pushing through a torn calf, which is ridiculous. But you
saw it pop on the field, and you were like,
he was done. He was done.
Yeah.
And then you had obviously Cody Barton, which is a high ankle sprain. What they said it was high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
So that's normally 4 to 6 weeks normally. So if he's back anytime before that, you're doing well.
So would you move then?
Anyway,
would you move Jamin Davis to the mic then and play Kaliki Hudson in the middle, because it didn't work with David Mayo at all?
The thing is, though, is that Mayo's one of them guys, isn't he? He's really good in special teams, really good at, I guess, in like stopping the run, but god awful in coverage, like really bad at coverage. And teams are just going to play on that. If he's in the team, they're going to keep playing that on, throw the ball anywhere near him, and he's burnt toast. That's what he is. So it's so difficult because Jamon's not on mic either. So you put him in there. He's not that. He's tried it and he was dang awful. Do you know what I mean? So it's so difficult. But this is why I blame Ron and Anko and all the rest of them, because you one injury and he fucked. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. It's like any given Sunday. You know what I mean? Next man up type thing. But let's say Hudson's not on mic, so you're not going to play Hudson there. Everyone was asking about, why isn't he playing? Well, yeah, because he doesn't play Mike. So,
Yeah, he's a
and
will
so you
linebacker,
put
isn't he?
Damon Davis
So,
there, who doesn't play Mike. You're going to play him there instead. So I mean, it doesn't work. So what's going to happen? It's going to be Mayo. Mayo's going to be there, and it's going to be Jamin Davis alongside him. But we're going to get burnt. We're going to get burnt toast. We're going to get burnt. Goldit's going to have a game, man, against us.
And as Ron's famous saying, I've got to look at the tape. Teams do look at the tape, but I don't think they need to look at the tape with us. They just know, like Scout said, yeah, they're gonna burn us, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna burn us. They're gonna burn us. You're gonna go over just over Mayo's head every single time,
yeah.
and you'd be like trying to claw at a cat. No chance.
But then on the flip side, it is like Scout said, any given Sunday. And like, a few years ago, we beat the Steelers. It wouldn't be surprised if we did beat the Eagles, just because that's us. We're so up and down.
The only thing that, because you're totally right, but the only thing that puts me off that is that when we do these big upset wins, we're away from home.
Yeah, we are.
Right. We've never done it at our own ground, stuff like that. So it's man. I just can't see it this time, man. It's going to be close.
It's going to be close. So they're coming off a 31-17 win against Miami, which is a bit of a statement win. That, to be fair, I watched that and I thought, they look pretty handy, to be honest. I mean, what do you do then to try and what were your keys to victory here? I'll ask you both. Scouts, if you give me a couple, and then Aled, if you've got something, obviously on offense or defense, let us know. Do you go with the same game plan we had a couple of weeks ago against the Eagles? Because honestly, AJ Brown, as you said, absolutely destroyed us. We weren't really protected against Jalen Hurts. We let him run. He also let him throw. He had over 300 yards in the game. And obviously, it was a bit of a sling out, a bit of a gunslinging game, wasn't it?
I was quite shocked about, really, because I thought Sam played really well in that game.
He did, yeah.
Against one of the, realistically a Super Bowl contender. So, but yeah, biggest keys for me: keep Sam upright. That's rule number one. Right, second one: stop AJ Brown. Now that if you got a double team and find double team and get the safety over the top to help him out. They're the first two keys to victory in this game.
Aled, what have you got?
Yeah, you can't run before you can walk. And like Scout says, keep Howell upright. Whether we're doing max protect or what, just make it easy for him. Don't make it hard. I'm all for the running backs, hand the ball off. Robson Jr., my man. Get it to him. Let's try and move the chains that way. Hopefully the defense, step up, have a good game. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough, no word of a lie.
Yeah, for me, I think this is we've got to go back to the game we had in Philly a couple of years ago when they were on their unbeaten streak. It's about time of possession, this for me. What we did really well against Philly a couple of weeks ago was on third down, we kept them off the field. When they were on third down, they weren't converting. It was 3 and out. They were off the field. We had 7 3 and outs last time, and that was a really good stat. And we controlled their run game. So if you're asking to control AJ Brown, who's a top wide receiver, and you're asking for the defense to make sure that Jalen Hurts is flushed or is staying in that pocket, so he has to make decisions because he does have a gaff in him, the same as all quarterbacks do. To then ask, oh yeah, you've also got to keep this run game there. That's going to be a lot to take on. But over the last 4 games, when you watch and you look at Philly's run game, it is down on what it has been. So I don't think it's actually one of their strengths anymore. They're averaging, I think it was they're averaging 3 yards a carry. So it's not a huge amount that they're running through there.
Yeah, they're using it as a means to get the pass open.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right, Scott.
That's what they use them nowadays. I mean, because last year they had Miles Sanders, who's more of a bruising running back. They haven't got him anymore. So they've got Swift, haven't they? They've got DeAndre Swift, who's an amazing back. He is a very good running back, he is, but he's injury prone. So he's not that bruiser type of running back. So if you can hit him quite hard early on, you might limp out of injuries. You know what I mean? He's got a glass ankle. So if we can somehow injure that ankle, that'll help us out a lot. But the second one,
I hope not. The third, people injured, but yeah,
yeah, injured just for the game, not long term.
I know what you mean. I'm with you. Yeah.
What's the other one?
Turnovers, I suppose, maybe.
Yeah, for me, that wasn't what I was going to say, but it was a lost trail of thought. But I just think on defense, we've got to make Hurts beat us with the pass. You've got to keep him in the pocket. Do not let him be able to run straight up the middle like Tyrod did. Like the other running back, the other quarterback, even like Ridder was doing it against us. He's not even a runner, and he was still running miles up. This it's so important that we've got to have somebody in the middle where the linebackers are going to be. You need to have someone right there. You need to have a spy every time, not just even there once in a while. It's got to be every time. For me, Jim and Davis should be that personally, but. Yeah.
I agree with you. We just need to see a little bit of a different set from the defense. We need to see more blitzes. We need to see more
aggressive,
aggressiveness from there. Well, I'll give you this to finish our finishes off then. We'll go with a quick over-under. Over-under 3 brotherly shoves / tush pushes. What are you saying, Aled? How many are we going to see it? Because no doubt about it, they are going to do that stupid, illegal move.
I know.
In my opinion.
It was mad in the US when I was there. They were all calling it a rugby move. It was
exactly.
Picked up my ears. It was like a pushover over the try line. It was really interesting.
That's what it came from, wasn't it? Because who was it? The ex rugby player,
ex rugby league lad, the right tackle.
Is it Mailata?
Jordan
Mailata was actually a rugby player before he came in. So he gave him all this idea, like, hey, why don't we just do this? This is not against the law.
No.
Got to change that though. I think it's shit.
They need to do that.
4-on-1. You know what they're going to do. It's going to be the tush push every single time, and you can't stop it. You can't get there.
So what you're saying? Over under 3. What do you think?
It's over all day long, man.
Over 3 in the game? I don't think it's going to be over 3. I think it's going to be under 3 because I don't think they're going to have that many. Because they'll convert on second. So, you know what I mean. So it won't be an issue.
More than 3.
Possibly. Right. Last thing then, gents. Thanks for being with us, Aled, all this time as well. Really appreciate you being here. If you want to shout out your social media handles and stuff while you're here, let us go ahead.
Yeah. So on X, as it's now known, I'm at Wales Commanders.
Wales Commanders.
I think I'm about not that I'm counting, but I'm about 15 followers off 1,000. So
come on,
if
then
anybody wants to get me over 1,000, that'd be a nice little.
Right. I'm quitting this game. I'm quitting this game. I've only got about 50. I'm well low down. I'm a no mark. I'm not happy with this.
So it's all right, Aled. We'll get you on next week. New colour.
You can take over from me, Aled, if you want.
You do enough, Scouse and Scott. You're on everything.
Got 250 followers. What's that say?
Don't you worry about that. If you pay, you can pay me in beers. I'm quite happy. Yeah, I'll go on whatever show.
You even drink, bro.
I know. But yeah. In all seriousness, what we going then? Predictions, gents. What we saying? Scouse, I'll go with you first.
I think it's going to be tighter than what you think it will be. Like I say, every single, no matter what you think. When it comes down to in-division games, especially in our division, it's always tight, man. It always is. Besides the one-off, which was like the week 1 with Dallas getting absolutely hammered 40-0. But that's like a definite outlier. Now, for me, we lose, unfortunately. I think we lose 28-21. So lose by 7.
28-21, right. Aled?
Yeah, so I think it's just going to be straight out 3 touchdowns to 2 touchdowns in favor of Eagles. So I'm just going to, just go 21-14 Eagles.
21-14 Eagles. I'm very similar to you. I'm going to go, it's a resounding loss. It's the 3 of us have said it's a loss. I'm going to go 24-14. Yeah, 10-point loss. Unfortunately, and it'll be another misery Thursday, which we don't really want. We're hopeful. We're always hopeful. In division game, you'd never know, but yeah, it's going to be a tough ask this week. But hopefully, they're on their mettle, and we do see a good performance. Thanks very much for being with us, Aled. Really appreciate your time, Scouse. As always, thank you for being with me. I love this hour or so that we get every week. If you've not liked and subscribed, Please like and subscribe on our YouTube, because Scouse puts his time and effort into putting it on there, and it seems like we don't get any views on there. If you download
no one to see our ugly mugs, mate. No one's to see that.
I know that. I know that. But the podcast's going strong on all the Spotify and Amazon and Apple apps. It is everywhere. You can also get it on Google. So any podcast catcher that you've got, just search 1 Point Safety Show and it will come up, and you can leave us a review on there if you'd be so kind as well. Thanks, gents. We'll be back the same time next week, and hopefully we have a dub. Who knows?
Bye.